The story began in crisis, not in comfort. A deadly epidemic swept across a small African village hidden between the hills and the river, and a team of medical professionals from Europe raced against time to stop it. Among them was Dr. Amelia Hart, a 38-year-old epidemiologist from Scotland, calm under pressure, brilliant, but quietly tired of the sterile walls of hospitals and the constant hum of machines. She had given her life to healing others, but somewhere deep inside, she longed for something simpler, a patch of earth, the smell of soil after rain, a life that grew rather than only survived. She didn't know that in one forgotten village, destiny was waiting, covered in dust and wrapped in a farmer's hands. The morning they arrived, the air was heavy with fear and humidity. Flies buzzed over empty market stalls. Children peered from behind mud huts. People coughed softly behind masks they didn't fully understand. Amelia and her team set up a makeshift clinic near the old church. The sound of generators mixed with prayers in the local language. Day after day, they treated fevered villagers, logging temperatures, testing samples, praying silently that the medicine would work before the disease did. Then one afternoon, they brought in a man on a stretcher. His name is Musa, the interpreter said. He's a farmer. Musa was tall, his body weakened, but his eyes still holding a quiet strength, the kind that comes from fighting harder than life allows. As she leaned over him to check his vitals, Amelia noticed his rough hands, calloused, yet gentle when he tried to hold still. He's been sick for over a week, one nurse whispered. He didn't want to leave his farm. Amelia smiled faintly. Farmers never do. Musa's recovery was slow, but steady. Each day, Amelia visited to check his progress, and each time, their conversations stretched a little longer, from symptoms to the weather, to the soil, to the rain patterns that made his crops thrive. He told her about his farm, acres of green cassava, maize, and tomatoes shining under the sun. How he used his phone to record short videos about soil fertility, seed spacing, and how love could make anything grow. Amelia laughed. You make it sound poetic. It is, Musa said. The land listens when your heart is clean. The words lingered in her mind long after she left the clinic. One evening, during a rare break, Amelia scrolled through her old social feed under the soft hum of the generator. She found herself watching her favorite farm vlog again, a simple channel called Musa's Green Earth. She'd been following it for almost a year. The videos were short, calming. A man speaking in accented English, hands in the soil, teaching patience and gratitude. His voice had become her comfort on lonely nights after long shifts. But she didn't connect the dots. Not yet. The next morning, Musa smiled when she brought his medicine. When I am well, he said, I'll take you to my farm. The tomatoes are probably angry I left them. She laughed, unaware that the farm he spoke of was the same one she'd admired from thousands of miles away. By the end of the 4th week, the clinic's work was done. The epidemic curve had finally begun to drop. Musa was well enough to stand, walk, and smile again. As her team prepared to leave, Amelia found herself hesitating. The idea of flying back to London hospitals, to sterile hallways and long winters, suddenly felt empty. When the others boarded the medical truck to the airport, she stayed behind. Just a few more weeks, she told herself, to follow up with the patients, for closure. But closure was the last thing she was about to find. In those extra 3 weeks, the line between doctor and friend began to blur into something unspoken but undeniable. They spent long evenings walking to the edge of the fields, watching the sun melt into the horizon. Musa taught her how to plant cassava, how to test the soil sent to know if it was ready for rain. In return, she shared stories about Scotland's cold hills and her grandmother's small apple orchard that first made her fall in love with farming. One night, beneath a sky crowded with stars, Musa turned to her and said, You came to heal our bodies, but maybe God sent you to heal your own heart. She looked away, blinking back tears. She hadn't told him how empty her life back home had become. How the sound of the soil in his hands felt more alive than any applause in a hospital conference room. By the time her final week ended, love had taken root, quiet, deep, and real. She promised to return after retirement. He promised to wait. And when they finally parted at the village gate, no words were enough. Only a touch, lingering longer than it should, heavy with all that could not be said. Back in Europe, Amelia returned to her old life. The white walls, the scent of antiseptic, the endless reports. But something inside her had changed. She found herself drawn again to that little YouTube channel, Musa's Green Earth. One day, she watched a new upload. The camera shook slightly, the man smiling into the lens as he spoke. "This one," he said, "is for someone who helped me stand again. She knows who she is." Then he knelt, scooped up the soil, and whispered, "If love is true, it will grow, even across oceans." Amelia froze. It was him. The same voice, the same hands, the same soil she'd been admiring long before she met him. Her heart thudded. She laughed through tears. What were the odds? It wasn't coincidence, it was calling. 2 years later, her retirement papers were signed. She packed light, a suitcase, her stethoscope, and a small bag of Scottish apple seeds. When she arrived back in that African village, the air smelled like rain and new beginnings. Musa was there, older, stronger, smiling as if no time had passed at all. "I told you I'd come back," she whispered. "I never stopped believing," he replied. They built a small farmhouse together by the river, blending her knowledge of crops with his wisdom of the land. She taught local women basic health care. He expanded his farm and trained young farmers. Their love grew like the green earth itself, slow, steady, and deeply rooted in faith and gratitude. And sometimes, when the sun dipped low and fireflies began to dance, Amelia would look at the horizon and say, "You know, it started with a disease, but ended with a cure neither of us expected." He'd laugh softly, pulling her close. The heart always knows its medicine. In the end, this is not just a story about a doctor and a farmer. It's about healing beyond hospitals. It's about how love, like soil, needs just one seed of chance and a little rain of faith to grow into forever. Thank you for listening. For more strange love stories in unconventional places, do well to subscribe to the channel. It is free.